Well,
so on Friday,
yeah,
Doctor Strange, Marvel's new incarnation, was released.
We went and saw it Thursday night.
Yes.
11:15 showing, not midnight. They didn't even have a midnight showing.
They didn't. I saw that.
That was the latest one. I went and saw it.
Yeah, we did.
So how do we want to approach this?
Like we always do. What are my options?
Non-spoiler review first?
Nope.
Or just spoilers the whole time?
Spoilers the whole time. If you haven't seen Doctor Strange,
don't listen to this.
you can listen to it if you want.
Yeah.
There's not really a lot to be spoiled. It's a standard
Marvel formula for success. Yeah, so my thoughts.
Your thoughts.
You ready?
Sure.
Overall, enjoyed the movie.
Okay.
It's the formula works, it's an enjoyable movie. I don't think this movie blew my mind. I thought this movie would feel a lot different because it was instead of being like a
solo.
It's
a solo.
Because he's a sorcerer, not like
supreme.
a hero. Like he doesn't have like a superpower. I guess magic. It's just sort of different to me. I thought this was going to feel a lot different, but it didn't. And I really wanted it to.
Oh, yeah?
I wanted it to be totally different.
I think, before we go any further, I think we made a mistake in our viewing of this movie.
Okay.
I've been seeing incredible reports of people saying that IMAX 3D is a way to watch this movie.
Yeah.
It really, changes your perspective on the whole movie.
Really?
Literally and
wow,
speculatively.
Maybe we should go watch it again.
So I was thinking, I don't necessarily want to do that because IMAX 3D is expensive.
Yeah, it's like $60.
But think of all the location bending, all the magic and stuff.
Yeah, in 3D that would look sick.
3D and IMAX?
Yeah.
That would be so crazy versus just the standard 2D, which we saw.
Yeah.
I always talk, when we talk movies, I always talk about my movie-going experience.
Yeah.
And this one wasn't top-notch.
Yeah.
For a lot of reasons.
Okay.
Which is unfair to critique a movie for this. So I'm critiquing the whole experience, the whole night experience.
Okay.
But we went to a movie theater where they serve food and drinks. Mm-hmm. And our waitress was brand new.
It was the worst waitress experience I've had at that movie theater.
That's true, I agree. And she was brand new, and
I've been there a lot too.
She ordered our drinks right when the movie started, I think. And she brought them out, and then she never came back to order food. So you had to write on a notepad, which is standard. But I don't like that. We got there early enough where she could have...
Yeah, no, they're supposed to do it. You're supposed to order food before the movie.
Yeah.
That's the purpose of getting there early.
And then, the worst part of it...
What, the end?
No, not bad.
Okay.
Was the people behind us, to my right, would always laugh very loudly. And I talk about this all the time. They laugh a second or two too late. You missed a joke.
Yeah.
And then they repeat it to themselves. Not what did he say? And then someone replace it. It's more he said that funny joke, I'm going to say it. And then try to get some laughs.
Yeah.
So, I'm all about movie immersion and video game immersion and book immersion and anything I'm doing, I'm trying to be immersed and be entertained. And it's very hard when... I've talked about this a lot. When I can see a joke coming, and I still think it's funny based on how they presented it and how they said it.
Yeah.
And I can see that joke coming, and I prepare myself to laugh. And then some people are just they don't see it coming, and then they laugh a second or two later than I do, and I'm okay, the joke's over. I don't know if that happened. You didn't laugh out loud very much.
I didn't.
Or if you did, we laughed at the same time.
I didn't think... There's a few parts I laughed at, mostly with Wong. Mostly with him. Actually, I think I only laughed out loud twice.
Yeah.
Over the movie.
And to go along with that, Marvel movies are notorious for having too many jokes.
Yeah, they're supposed to try to be a little lighter, They are
being lighter, but at the same time, it's some of the jokes really hit the mark, and those are really funny. Mm-hmm. But some of these are just I feel they're just in there because...
They're just trying, They're trying too hard.
Their contract is, we need a joke every 2.5 minutes.
Yeah.
So let's do that. And I feel,
Yeah. I don't know.
But also, those people were laughing at some things that weren't funny. It was a serious part in the movie. Mm-hmm. They're trying to, show this emotion or this expression, and these people are oh, it's so funny that this happened. Shut up! I'm trying to be immersed. I'm trying to feel what Doctor Strange is feeling.
And you're not helping me.
Yeah. So get out.
Yeah. Okay, so that's your context to understand the movie, right? So it's
that's my movie-going experience. But I did like the movie.
Tell me your thoughts.
I liked it a lot. I thought it was a lot of fun. I think Benedict Cumberbatch. Mm-hmm. Cumberbatch. Benny? Old Benny?
Yeah, Old Ben.
Old Ben? I think he was good.
Yeah, I thought he did too.
There is a lot of similarities between him and Iron Man, obviously, and I think there's more similarities in the movie than there are in like the comics.
Yeah, so they're both arrogant and rich.
He's not nearly as arrogant as Iron Man was,
or rich as Iron Man, but. I guess, I mean, he's a neurosurgeon or whatever, so he had tons of
I guess that's true. He did have money, not nearly as much as Iron Man. I guess I never thought about that.
But he had a nice car.
We talked about Doctor Strange when they first announced it, where like Doctor Strange life went down the tubes when he broke his hands. So exactly. He lost all his money, he lost his whole family because they all died in car accidents and cancer and stuff. They didn't show any of that in the movie. They just showed the car accident.
So also, I mean, he did say when he arrived that he was out of money. He's like, I spent my last time getting here.
Well, yeah, but they didn't say anything about his family, which I guess is fine. It's not necessary.
Yeah.
But when they showed his hands, I cringed. Those are gross.
Yeah, they did a good job with the hands.
Gross.
And I do think the best part of this movie is him, Doctor Strange. I think Benedict Cumberbatch did a really good job.
There's not really any supporting characters that last a long time to be there.
They don't give us that. And that one of my complaints. So one of my favorite part is Doctor Strange. I thought he's a really cool character. I thought Benedict Cumberbatch did a good job of portraying him, making him feel cool. My biggest critique is all the other characters. You get nothing. There's no build up. There's no character development. They're just kind of there. And they don't really do much with them. I wish they would have done more with just maybe one other character. Mordo is supposed to be probably, I'm guessing by the end credit scene, the next bad guy in the next Doctor Strange movie.
Yeah.
And
he's generally just a Doctor Strange villain.
And we didn't, we got a little bit about his backstory. We got, one little conversation about it. I used to be just like you. That's all you get for his backstory. And then the whole rest of the movie, he's just black and white on everything, and we don't really understand why. We don't get any backstory.
What are you looking for?
I'd just be looking for instead of the conversation being I used to be just like you, maybe another point down the line when he's struggling, he goes into just a little bit more depth about his backstory.
So I used to be like you.
So I could care. I used to be more like you. Here's my I used to do this.
I was a cardiologist.
And I lost my blah, 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 and I was really sad. But, if you really just stick to it, that pep-up talk, something that brings me more attachment to that character. Because him turning bad at the end, credits, wasn't so, I was like,
yeah,
okay,
the end credit scene, showed him as, going to murder another wizard.
Yeah.
Another sorcerer. And I guess it makes sense from his perspective, from what happened. He's just these things. Well, the whole movie, he's we're not supposed to mess with this.
Yeah, we're not supposed to mess with natural laws.
Don't mess with natural laws. Don't mess with the Eye of Agamotto.
Yeah, the time eye.
The time gem. Don't mess with the time gem because it does this. It does this. Yeah. And at the very end, he has to use the time gem to save the world. Everything. Right.
Right.
And Mordo.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, first of all, there's Dormammu and there's Mordo. Friggin' chill it with the D's.
Yep.
D-O-M names.
Get rid of all these dumb names.
So Mordo is we can't do this. And then Doctor Strange is well, we needed to. And then essentially he's okay, well, I'm not going to be part of this anymore. And then, because the Ancient One was also using dark magic to keep herself alive, or the Dark realm, and then the basketball player guy was also using dark magic to keep his legs and everything okay.
Yeah.
So Mordo was we're not supposed to be tapping into the dark forces at all. Mm-hmm. So now he's going around and essentially, from what I understand, maybe things will change in the next movie.
Yeah.
He's going by and he's very Crusader-esque. I'm killing for the righteous.
Right.
I'm ridding you because of your sins, because of your little big sins, small sins all together.
He's the only way I can make the world safer is if I make less sorcerers. So I'm gonna go kill all the sorcerers.
And I guess there could be argument that maybe he has the right perspective. Maybe he's going about it the wrong way.
Right.
But maybe these people are inviting the darkness back into the world, and he's trying to rid them of that.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see if he sticks to the path of the righteous, path of the right, where he doesn't use any dark magic, which would be cool if we saw that.
Right, but I don't think he will.
But I don't think he will. Also, he had those cool boots.
He did have
and he didn't really use those, except for that one time when he punched Doctor Strange in the face.
He used them once to get away from something. I can't remember what it was.
I think it was probably at the end of the fight, and he's
and Doctor Strange was flying, and he was just jumping around.
Yeah.
And it was in the distance. But one thing,
I think that'd be cool. Those boots were cool.
I think it would have been cool. I was a little taken aback at the end of the climax when he just walks away. Like,
Mordu?
Is that supposed to be... Like, it seems to me to be a jump for him to go from the movie to then the end credit scene. Like, I didn't see the connection very well. And I know that at the end, I think maybe him walking away is supposed to be, like, signify that. But there was nothing else before that. Like, he walked away, and I was like, why is he walking away for? He just, like, fought with him and everything.
Yeah,
and I understood that they had this argument, but it didn't seem enough to, like... split him up, and then he gets to that conclusion. That seems to be like a pretty...
It was a big jump, but he was also like, he trained with the Ancient One for forever and looked up to the Ancient One, and then he found out that the Ancient One kind of betrayed everything that she's taught, and everything that he's learned is kind of wrong in his mind. So he still has his powers and he still has these things, but he's like, I'm in a weird spot right now. Maybe just need some time alone. And then he thought to himself, maybe they could have shown that on screen. Maybe that was their attempt to show it on screen, was at the very end.
Yeah, maybe. It's just a jump to me. But
there's the woman in this movie, I can't remember the actress name, or Christine was her on-screen name.
Yeah.
I don't remember who she was, but like...
The love interest?
Yeah, kind of. Like, they used to have a thing.
Yeah.
And then
he was a
He, like,
jerk.
yelled at her,
Right.
which is like... I mean, I kind of understand. I mean, don't be a jerk. Because it's been, like, months. Also, the timeline of this movie is really weird. And I'm not counting the time travel stuff. It's just, like... I couldn't tell a lot of passage of time from the car...
From scene to scene?
From scene to scene. From showing... Because there was... It opens up with him... Kind of... The first time we see him, he's doing surgery. He's doing brain surgery. And he's testing himself with his song names, right? And the years.
Yeah.
And then as soon as he walks out of there, there's another emergency that needs him. I don't know if that's literally the same day or just a different day.
Right.
And then that night, I assume he gets in the car accident. But I don't know if that's night. I don't know how long he's in the hospital bed. I don't know how long he's been looking to save his hands. They might have said it and I just missed it.
Yeah,
and then he yells at her, and then he goes to Tibet or wherever.
Right. And I think the same thing. Like, to me, I noticed it when they went to Tibet. Because I noticed when he first got in the car accident to when he was in his like house and yelling at Christine. Like, he developed a beard because she shaved him at the hospital. And then after that, he had a beard and his hair was a little bit disheveled. So I kind of can assume that some time had passed at that point. But then from there to Tibet or to Nepal, wherever it was, I don't know how much time was there. He said he spent his last dollar in this going up to the door or something, talking to the guy, Mordu. But we don't know how long that was. I mean, I guess it's years.
Maybe.
That's what I thought. But it's hard to tell.
And then how long was he there training?
Yeah, we don't know.
Which is another thing.
Was it like a week?
There's like a montage. That would have been a great time for a montage.
Yeah.
Because, like, I get that he's smart and he has a photographic memory. That's how he's got his PhD and his MD at the same time. And he read all these things, but how long was he there training? And I think that would give us light into his powers. And I have another issue with his powers. I don't know how strong he is. But before we go into that, there was the best joke in the movie was made in the audience.
Okay.
When he was... right before he yelled at Christine, he was testing his handwriting and he was writing down his name. He was signing his name.
This was your joke.
And I leaned over to you and I said, because he has a whole list of his name on the piece of paper. Like, he's trying to get his handwriting back because his hands are
and it looks like a fourth grader's handwriting.
Yeah, it looks like a fourth grader's handwriting. And I lean over to you and I say, good thing he kept his handwriting.
Because he's a doctor.
Because he's a doctor.
Dr. Joe.
And that would have been a great joke to put in.
That was hilarious.
If they put that in the movie, that would have been fantastic.
It's so funny. It'd be wrong for that scene, though, because that scene's supposed to be sad, but that's so funny.
Yeah.
It made me laugh. I did laugh at that.
Yeah, so that was good. That was a good one. High five to me. Double high five.
Double high five.
Great.
All right.
But a big thing I had was I didn't know how strong he was. I don't know how good his powers were. It looks like the first time you see him use his powers is when he's stranded on Mount Everest, and like he just comes back after a couple minutes. I'm like, okay, I get it. Like, obviously this is the point, but I don't know how hard that is. I don't know how he's struggling with this. Then from there, he gets the Eye of Agamotto, and then he gets the Cloak of Levitation, or whatever it's called. He gets these really powerful things, and people comment on how powerful they are, that they work with him.
Yeah.
But it doesn't really show that. And this movie, I think, could have really benefited from just
as an extended fight scene?
An extended fight scene with just had minions. Like a few minions. And there were some where he fought these people, he fought these guys one-on-one.
Yeah, but
these were
on par with him.
Yeah, they were on par with him. So I don't know, does that show his strength?
Or the strength of the minions?
Or the strength of the minions. What I really wanted to see was him just go like through a swath of like 50 people.
Yeah.
Like, he has magic, he can do that, can't he?
I would think so.
So like, I don't think maybe this wouldn't be good for like a militaristic people for him to fight.
Yeah.
Because that's not really what he does. But if they were just like, and Marvel does this all a lot. They get criticized for this a lot. There's just minions. So there's the robots in Age of Ultron or the aliens in Avengers 2012. If they had something like that could show how strong he was just compared to normal minions, like show how strong the minions are, then show that he just destroys them. Oh, that's cool. Or maybe they don't want him to be that strong in the very beginning.
That's fine.
But at the same time,
show that
because he didn't. Yeah, and show that. And he didn't win the final fight with magic necessarily.
Well, he used magic, but it was his wit that won.
Yeah, it was his wit that won. It wasn't like strength.
Exactly.
So like he went up to the Dark Zone.
Yeah.
The Shadow Realm, as we call it in Yu-Gi-Oh.
Yep. Oh my gosh.
And he fought. First of all, Dormammu looked incredible. Was that not an awesome graphic?
That was the whole Dark Realm to me, and I think this goes with the history of Doctor Strange. Was like psychedelic. Like, when I think of Dark Realm, at first I'm like, oh, it's like dark and gross and really evil, but it looked like a psychedelic dark and evil with like all there's like bulbs and like planets and like really contrasted colors.
Kind of looks like pollen.
Yeah, almost like pollen.
The way you would expect pollen.
And so I was happy with that.
Like it wasn't just black.
Because it was space. Better. Yeah, and I almost expected the Dark Zone to be like
it was almost like venomous.
Thanos. Then the first time we see Thanos, like it's kind of like spaces out there and there's just like floating things. I kind of expected that to be what the Dark Realm was like. So it was cool, and I also wondered if it was going to be Dormammu was actually Thanos. That's what I thought. First, that they were the same person, but obviously not. They're not.
Dormammu looked incredible.
He looked really cool,
and I don't understand how the Eye of Agamotto and Doctor Strange was so strong to keep Dormammu in that time loop. Yeah. Nor do I understand how Dormammu was just like he died over and over again. I guess that's annoying. It's kind of like an annoying fly, Doctor Strange is, but Dormammu's just like, okay, I don't know, maybe. So Doctor Strange traps Dormammu in a time loop where Dormammu keeps killing Doctor Strange, and Dormammu's like, okay, I'll kill you this time and you're not going to come back. But because it's in a time loop, he always comes back, and he dies all these different ways, and some of these ways are interesting, and sometimes he fought and sometimes he didn't, and that would make a lot of sense to me. And I guess there's a lot of pain that goes on with that. I assume Doctor Strange feels that every single time.
Yeah.
Those Mormons?
Yep.
Jehovah's Witnesses?
Yeah, I think so. They're walking around the backside, though.
Good. Start over there.
What were we talking about? Dormammu?
He keeps getting killed, and I'm like, that's fine. And I guess the more I think about it, the more it makes sense, where Dormammu's just like, I want to be free from this prison. Even though he's in the power position where he gets to kill us, he still can't leave that for eternity. And that kind of goes back, of course, to all Marvel themes, like, you gotta let yourself go, you gotta do it for the greater good, which is happened in Avengers with Iron Man and the nuclear bomb. It happened in literally everything. Yeah. So that's not anything spectacular, but I guess Dormammu's like, okay, I'm not coming back.
Yeah, well, and I was like, the first thing I thought was, as soon as he made the deal and Doctor Strange ended the time loop, why didn't you just kill him? Yeah. He obviously has the power to do that. He killed him a bunch of times.
I don't know. I mean, maybe he didn't actually end the time loop.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. That was the most disappointing thing was the client. Well,
the boss battle?
Okay, not the most disappointing, but it was a letdown that the whole climax of the film was him like
using his wit
to
not
win,
fighting,
which is fine that he uses wit, but I would have liked to see more fighting.
Mm-hmm. He doesn't even touch Dormammu.
Yeah,
there's not even like there's like no minions that he fights either.
No, well, I thought he would do more fight. Like he did do a little bit against the rogue sorcerer.
Yeah, who knows what his name was?
I can't even remember that guy's name. Mads Mikkelsen.
Did he die? What happened to him?
He died at the end because that was part of the deal he made.
Oh yeah, he was supposed to live forever, and then he gets turned into these like weird heartless looking things.
Yeah,
from Kingdom Hearts.
Yep, they look actually that's what they look like.
And they got sucked up.
Yep, into the Dark Realm.
Yeah.
I would have liked to see him like beat the rogue. No, the rogue guy.
Yeah.
But then it's too late. Like he still succeeds in opening the Dark Realm, so then he has to go do the Dark Realm.
Yeah.
So instead of using the Dark Realm to beat the rogue sorcerer, why don't they beat the rogue sorcerer, but then still have to deal with Dormammu? Because then we could have seen more of his power.
Yeah,
we could have seen more fighting.
I think that, but at the same time, like the Dark Sorcerer, whatever his name is, the Dark Magician. Yeah. Throwing out some more Yu-Gi-Oh references.
Okay.
How, like, he's been training forever. There's no way that Doctor Strange can beat him. Like, if Doctor Strange beat him, I would be like, this is ridiculous. Because I don't know how long Doctor Strange was training before the Ancient One got zapped, evaporated. And I don't know, like, Doctor Strange has all these powers that he can do now, and I'm like, that's fine. You don't need to explain that. I understand. He's been reading all these books. And I guess he's advanced enough to where he can read the Ancient One books, the Ancient One's books, and he learned how to do the time thing, but...
Yeah.
And the Eye of Agamotto is like the strongest... I mean, it's an Infinity Gem. He's in control of an Infinity Gem, right?
Yeah.
So that adds to his strength. But at the same time, like, there has to be knowledge that goes along with that.
Yeah, I think so, too.
It's kind of like the Harry Potter. The problem I have with Harry Potter. Mm-hmm. Harry Potter, like, the character knows, like, 6 different spells. Voldemort knows, like...
All of them.
And somehow they're still equal.
That doesn't make sense.
Like, and a big problem in the book, to go way off topic, is that, one, Harry Potter never once learned how to cast a spell without saying it. That was a big struggle point for him. Mm-hmm. And once you get to a certain age, you're supposed to be able to do that easy. Voldemort could cast spells all the time without saying it.
Yeah.
The freaking stealth kill.
Yep.
And so, like, so that's, like, a different position of power. Like,
it totally is.
So the Dark Magician should have all these ways of defeating Doctor Strange.
But Doctor Strange doesn't know.
And they don't. But then he's also fighting with Wong. What did you think of the reversing of time scenes? I thought those were awesome.
I thought it was really cool.
The freezing of time. I think where this movie really shines is the visuals.
Oh, yeah. I think the effects in this movie were fantastic. Also, just, like, all of the art... Or all the artistic things, so, like, their magic, I thought looked really cool with, like, the sparkiness of it. Yep. And I thought, again, we said the Dark Realm, I thought was really cool.
Dude, how cool were those bay windows he had in the New York place? Mm-hmm. Where he would change the dial and change different things? That was so cool. That was really also, cool in the comics... Like, Spider-Man and Doctor Strange are real close buddies. Oh, yeah? But Spider-Man just, like, zooms in through the skylight, like, all the time.
Oh, really?
So I was really hoping in some scenes, especially towards the end...
That Spider-Man would show up?
Not that he would show up, just that you would see a character swinging.
Yeah.
And, like, his shadow on the window. That would really cool. It didn't happen. But that'd be sick. Like, I can't wait to see them interact. And also, in the first end-credit scene, Thor was there.
Yeah.
And they're talking about Loki...
And Odin.
And Thor is looking for Odin, and Loki isn't present, but he's on Earth.
Yeah.
And as far as I know, Ragnarok does not take place on Earth at all.
Yeah.
You've done more research than I have.
I've done a little bit. I mean, the general... from what I read, it's supposed to be mostly on Asgard, the movie.
Yeah.
And not the comic book version of Ragnarok, but... It's supposed to be on Asgard, and they're fighting in some sort of like arena gladiator type thing against. I think her name is Hera, and she's supposed to be like Hela, and she's supposed to be some like underworld of Asgard leader. Like she's kind of like a sketchy leader.
Yeah.
Of like dark Asgardians, but just like I think of like corrupt gangster Asgardians is kind of what I thought it when I read it. But yeah, so that's not on Earth.
Yeah, but
and also didn't the second Thor movie end with Loki on the throne as Odin?
Yeah. So, like, what happened?
So how was that resolved?
The only thing I can think is happening is when Ragnarok comes out, there'll be a scene where Thor is talking to somebody, I assume Bruce Banner, because we know the Hulk's going to be there, and he says, I've looked for my father everywhere. I went to Earth. I talked to Doctor Strange or whatever. Mm-hmm. I went to this place. I went to this place.
Yeah.
And they're not going to show it, which is fine. Like, you don't need to be back on Earth. Mm-hmm. I'm getting really sick of Loki, literally everywhere.
I know.
Like,
dude, it's all those girls, man. They love Loki.
I don't.
I have so many.
Tom Hiddleston.
Yeah, they just love Tom Hiddleston.
I don't understand why so many people like him as a villain to begin with. Like, was his plot that good in Avengers?
Well, I think even as Loki, like, he can be in all these movies, but I don't think he should ever be the main villain.
Again,
like in the comics, the ones that I've read of Thor, which is a limited, but I have some graphic novels.
Yeah,
like Thor. Sometimes is the main villain, but most of the time
Thor
is just like
Loki. Sometimes the main villain.
Loki is sometimes the main villain, but most of the time he's kind of like doing sketchy things on the side, or like he'll just pop up out of nowhere and just make your day even worse than it already is.
Yeah,
and that makes sense for like the mythology too of Loki. That's what Loki does. Like, I don't know. It's not like some evil force that's coming at you. He's supposed to be the trickster.
Yeah, so I don't know what's going on with that first in-credit scene because Loki was Odin, so maybe Thor eventually found out.
I guess. Like that's the only way that it makes sense.
Yeah.
But then what's Loki doing, and why is he loose?
Why is Loki, like, helping?
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, I mean, other than the fact that Thor could beat the snot out of him.
Yeah, which he has.
Yeah.
Multiple times.
Big brothers and whatnot.
Yeah.
I don't know. I actually wouldn't know about that.
I don't know. We'll find out later. Whenever that movie comes out,
and then watch it. The second in credit scene we talked about, which is Mordu.
Yeah, Mordu.
I'm interested to see where that character progresses, assuming that they have a strong arc with him, which is what's in my mind, where he doesn't use the dark magic. Mm-hmm. He doesn't open up the dark realm, and he still is powerful. Yeah. And he's fighting from the side of light. Mm-hmm. He's fighting from the side of righteousness, whereas Doctor Strange...
trying to murder all the sorcerers.
Yeah. Again, the Crusades.
Yeah.
Whereas Doctor Strange is like, well, I can't let you keep doing this, and I know I have to tap into the dark forces to do that, but it's going to happen.
Yeah, and he seems... And that's like the conversation he has with the Ancient One when she's dying. She's like, I needed to... Like, I know that you'll take it differently than Mordu, because... I don't know, to me, their last conversation made it feel like she trusted him more than Mordu, because he
was more worldly?
He understands, like, that sometimes you have to do bad things for good reasons. Like, he's more, like, gray. He's, like, a gray area person.
Yeah, I guess.
Like, he operates in the gray a lot. As opposed to... And sees the world as gray. Obviously, because he, like, steals from the library and, like, does all these things. Like, it's kind of sketchy stuff. And he breaks the rules a lot, too. So she kind of sees him as, like, someone who works in the gray, as opposed to Mordu, who only works in black and white and doesn't question the teachings, which is why he's so, like, disillusioned when she dies.
Are you upset that Doctor Strange never got a weapon?
I'm a little upset
Mordu had that staff.
He only did the hand thing, and there was, like, a stream of magic between his hands, and he kept fighting with that.
Yeah.
I didn't like that.
That reminded me of, I don't know what they're called, but they used to be like a big, almost like a rubber band, like a cloth rubber band.
Yeah.
You do with your fingers and you put them in between.
Yeah, like in elementary school.
Yeah, I don't remember what that was, but...
You like shoestrings and do it too.
Yeah, so he would fight with that, and that's fine, but that's projected. So he never had an actual weapon, and I guess you'd be like, the cloak was kind of a weapon, but not really.
It was more of a defensive
thing. The cloak helped a lot, and the cloak was very fun. I think... I don't think there was ever too many jokes with the cloak. I think the cloak was fine. It reminded me of the magic carpet from Aladdin.
It did me too.
But at the same time, like, that was good. I'm glad to see that. But I really wanted him to have a weapon. It's also interesting to say that his standard base of operations is that New York mystical place, right? So he's not going to go back to Nepal or Tibet or wherever the headquarters is.
He's been working out of there.
And Wong is also there with him in New York. So I don't know who's in charge
Wong
of that.
Is too? Yeah. I thought he'd go back to Hong Kong.
No, Wong's like his guy.
Oh, okay.
And also, Wong's not from Hong Kong.
Well,
it's from the Nepal-Tibet place. There was a place in Hong Kong.
He was in the fight scene for Hong Kong.
I think the only reason that was because there's Hong Kong, New York, and London. London was destroyed.
It's because everything hit the fan.
Yeah, New York was destroyed, and Hong Kong was like the last place. Mm-hmm. So I think he was just there fighting.
Okay. Or London was destroyed.
I don't remember any fight scenes with Wong or anybody like fighting people.
We saw him dead, and then him come back to life.
Was he fighting people in that, or what happened there?
Like he barely did anything. There was a little bit of fighting.
There was
before he goes into the dark.
Yeah, there was the dark magician and like his two henchmen.
Yeah, that was it.
I don't know.
Yep. So those are my thoughts. Like for me, overall, expectation was a little bit higher than what it achieved. I thought this was going to feel totally different. I definitely, this felt like a Marvel movie, like the same formula. I thought they were going to play with it a little bit because this is, instead of a superhero movie, it's like a sorcerer movie and it's more mystic, the whole thing. So I thought it was going to feel different. It didn't, so I was a little bit disappointed in that. Also, the climax, I was disappointed in how it came out. Did love Doctor Strange, though. Did love the acting. Him.
In the future, he kind of negates, like, every bad thing that can happen if he has the Eye of Agamotto.
He could.
Right? He just reverses time.
Right.
There has to be something.
There's going to be that's what Morty says. There's going to be consequence to everything you do.
Do you think Dormammu and Thanos are going to team up? And sick. By that I mean they're gonna fight Thanos in the negative zone in the Shadow Realm,
dude.
So he can't use the Eye of Agamotto in the Shadow Realm.
How would they win? There's no way they can beat that.
I don't know. Dormammu looks so cool,
dude. Dormammu's super powerful.
I think we'd had a folly where we didn't see this in IMAX 3D. I've never been to IMAX before, and I don't like 3D because I have big glasses.
I saw Spider-Man on IMAX.
Which one?
Amazing? Spider-Man 2.
Amazing Spider-Man?
No.
Or Spider-Man 2. Tobey Maguire Spider-Man 2.
Tobey Maguire.
The best superhero movie.
That was probably my favorite Spider-Man movie is Spider-Man 2. Also, then Amazing Spider-Man. Because I love Doc Ock so much.
Yes.
That was such a good one.
Also, before the movie, they were showing scenes of, like, there was the office scene where Michael tries to be a magician and escape artist.
Yeah.
And then before that, they showed a scene from Spider-Man 2 where they're trying to name Doc Ock, and the guy's like Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
And J. Jonah Jameson is like, nope, taken. That was
a good one.
Anyway, so I'm super excited to see. I'm super excited to see what happens to Doctor Strange in the future, as I am with most Marvel characters. There's speculation that he'll be taking over the Iron Man role because Robert Downey Jr. is getting tired.
Well, he's also getting older.
Yeah.
He's been doing it for over a decade now, right?
Iron Man came out in 2008.
Almost a decade.
So with pre-production, probably a decade.
Yeah.
But also, Infinity War comes out next year. So
there it is.
Definitely a solid decade, which is fine. Anyway, that's super fun. Those are our thoughts on Doctor Strange. I enjoyed it.
Now,
I don't regret going to see it.
Would you recommend to somebody else going to see it in theaters, going in IMAX 3D, or red boxing, or only seeing it if your friend buys it?
I highly recommend an IMAX 3D. A 3D experience at least, doesn't have to be IMAX.
Yeah.
But if you buy it, I think if you buy this in Redbox, if you download this on the internet, I think it's a disservice to yourself and to the movie itself because it really shines in the visuals. You go there for the story, you go there for the jokes, you go there for the fighting scene, but really it's to experience the visuals.
Yeah.
In a way that maybe movies haven't done before.
Yeah. I answered this question the next day to my brother, who called me and asked me what I thought of the movie.
The standard underpaid gamers?
Yeah. And he said, what is it worth? Is it worth going to buy a ticket? And my gut reaction was no.
Yeah.
I was just and I was really just still reeling from the climax. I just didn't like it. I didn't like how it ended. So I told him it's probably worth like redboxing or renting later or buying it. I said you could wait for me to buy it because I'm going to buy it eventually.
I think that's a self-fulfilling prophecy though. Right? So if you go and see it in theaters like we did, you'll be a little disappointed with the visuals. And you're like, okay, get it at Redbox. Someone gets it at Redbox, and then they also disappointed in the visuals because you don't see it.
Right.
So then they'll be like, oh yeah, you're right. This is a good Redbox movie. I paid $1 for this. It wasn't that good. But if you saw it in IMAX or you saw it in 3D, I think there's two different movies here. And I think saying Redbox, saying in regular theater, I think that's a self-fulfilling prophecy.
It could be, and I do think we may have made a mistake by not going 3D. Case in point, for me, Tron, the newest Tron movie, Tron Legacy. I really liked that movie when I saw it in 3D, and I bought the movie, and I still like the movie, but it's never been as good as that first time, because to me, that was the first movie that really took advantage of 3D and did it well. Because as soon, like, in the way they used it was the real world is 2D. When they go into the machine, to the Matrix, whatever it is, everything goes 3D and it's super cool.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and the whole experience in 3D was way better. So maybe it's like that. So I temper my recommendation, but to me, the plot line, all that wasn't spectacular. I like Doctor Strange, he was good, but everything else, like
his development happened so fast. Everybody else's development, like I guess, also happened fast, but they didn't show it. Anyway, if you've seen Doctor Strange in 3D or IMAX, tell us if you think it's worth it.
Yeah.
I want to know. I want to know if this is a self-fulfilling thing, or if I'm wrong and maybe it's not that great in 3D. But I think it is.
And we'd be open. Like if enough people say you need to go see it in 3D, maybe we will. I don't know.
Maybe
we'll see.
You can tell us those things either right now on the comment section, either on YouTube or on SoundCloud. You can write us a review on iTunes. We check those. You can even say go see Doctor Strange in 3D.
Yeah.
And give us 5 stars while you're there.
Yeah.
The easiest and fastest way is probably to tweet us at UP Gamers Podcast. Email us at underpaidgamerspodcast@gmail.com.
Yep.
What else was I going to say? Was that everything?
We have a website, officially, underpaidgamers.com.
That's right.
I think you just said.
That's true.
So you go check that out. We had a pretty big spike the other day of traffic. It was interesting. So, all right. Thanks for listening, guys.
Yeah.
We'll see you guys next time.
See you later.